Today on Play and Display, we'll be reviewing Krrsantan for the Star Wars Black Series. Here we go. Over the last several years, Star Wars has been focusing their spotlight on the bounty hunter genre, and it's been becoming one of my favorite lores in the Star Wars universe itself. Everything from the Mandalorian to the Book of Boba Fett, and all these characters I want to represent in some way with like a diorama or a playset. Only figure I really have right now is just I have a deluxe version of Boba Fett that I'm happy with. Another figure I had to pick up too, Krrsantan too as well. I know there's a deluxe figure of them though, but I went the cheap route, and we're going to see what cheap gets you. On a recent trip to Ross, I spotted this right away. It was actually kind of hanging out like that, and I thought to myself, oh my god, dude, it's a Krrsantan Black Series. No, I knew there was a deluxe version out there. I did not know about this version at all, though. But right away, I was taken away with the packaging, though. It had really cool artwork here on the sides, on the back. Yeah, the back's all right, though. But really, the best feature, I think, though, is folding this sucker out and getting a look at the action figure. You got a little bit of artwork here on the side. And just on top of that, we can put in the shelf. It's going to look so cool. And my first impressions on this figure are a little mixed, though. It doesn't look how I remember Black Krrsantan from the show. And I knew that when I got the packaging, though. But when I check it out, though, the color seems a little different because he should have some gray. I mean, you can tell he's an older Wookiee, he's a veteran fighter. The expression on his face is really good, though. And these little things he has right here on his mane look really rad. The armor is really good, too. He's kind of got that Todd McFarlane kind of armor. Like, you just, if you grab him, it's just like he bites back. So that's really rad, though. Just adds to it, though. The only thing I'd really fix right there is just his eyes would have a little bit more expressions, I want to say. Sorry, I'm stumbling over my words today. Now, the fur doesn't really do that good at the joints and kind of just comes over on the hands a little too far. And Wookiee fur, I imagine, is got to be tough to do for a figure. But I just wish they would have spent more time with it before they went out with the final product, though. The legs, it doesn't really hinder that too bad. The fur works pretty good on that end. And while trying to install his blaster, I accidentally broke off the scope on the gun there, though. The hands are a little tough to put the weapon in, but that one is purely my fault, though. So I'm not really going to judge it too harshly on that end, though. For the most part, though, the hand is super tight, though. And they did incorporate a holster for his blaster, which looks really good, though. Adds a little bit of functionality to the character, too, as well, for his battle armor. As far as articulation is concerned, there is not a lot here. For the most part, the head does not move. The arms do move, but this is about as high as you can get it. I don't even know if it's an issue, really, with the armor that he's got on. But, like, that's as high up he's going to go there. So, the legs, though, do work pretty decent, though, for the most part. I mean, the foot doesn't really pivot that well, but the knee and the hip joints work pretty well, so you can kind of have like a little wide stance if you want. That does work, though. And for my final review of Krrsantan is this. If you guys didn't notice, I was wearing a different shirt at the beginning of the episode. Some days have passed, even a week, and I'm going to kind of explain that here in the final reviews, but let's get on with it, though. For detail, I was going to judge this one more harshly because it didn't look like the TV show version of Black Krrsantan. What I found out, though, was this is based on the comic book version, so I'm not going to judge it that poorly, though. I just wish I knew a little bit more detail going in, but that's fine. It's still Krrsantan, in my opinion. The one thing, though, I got to point out that is really rough on this figure is got to be the Wookiee fur. And I know it's got to be tough to make, though. When I ever see the word Black Series, I always think to myself, it's a quality product. I heard so many people say, hey, if you collect Star Wars, get the Black Series. I just don't think they did that great of a job on this figure here, though. It looks very average, so I'm going to give this one an average score of 7 out of 10. And now for the posability, though. This figure right here doesn't really have a whole lot of it, though. And the part that really hurts it the most, though, is the fact that it's in the shoulders. For the most part, it doesn't have any wrist movement whatsoever. I was expecting more from it, though, because this character, like I say, he's a veteran warfighter. He's going to be a really close quarters kind of combat, kind of in your face, knock your teeth out kind of personality. And I really can't have that if you can't pick people up, though. But the lower half of the torso, I mean, the hips do move pretty decent, though, and the knees work pretty well. But all in all, though, this one's still not great, though, as far as, like, posing for a diorama or just kind of in the action sequence. So this one is also getting a 7 out of 10. And now for the fun factor. The fact that I actually sat on this figure for about a week before I even decided to finish the review doesn't mean this thing's going to score that great. Because whenever I do fun factor, I base it on, I have a little bit of fun with it. I pose it with the other figures, the other Star Wars figures that I got in that line. And it just doesn't seem to work well with it, though. It just, the lack of posability with it really hurts the fun factor. And on top of that, it's just, it should have came with more accessories. Should have came with more weapons and stuff like that. The fact that I broke the weapon, that's on me. That has nothing to do with the final review on this figure at all. And that being said, the fun factor is going to be a 6.75. I mean, it's there. There's a better option for it, though. And that's where I screwed up at. I should have did my research. I found out that the deluxe version improved on this figure a lot more. This is what I have. I went the cheap route. And I got hopes. And thank you guys so much for sticking around to the end of the video. I always appreciate you guys watching the video. Please leave a like if you guys want to. Also, comment down below. I always get back to you guys. Until then, take care of each other, y'all. See you next time.